Delsing spent 25 years on the PGA Tour and is a lifetime member of the PGA Tour and PGA of America. Now he provides his unique perspective as a golfer and network broadcaster. It's time to go on the range with Jay Delsing.
On the Range is brought to you by Pro-Am Golf.
Hey, good morning, St. Louis. This is Jay Delsing. I got John Perlis with me, and welcome to Golf with Jay Delsing. Perley, good morning.
Good morning, Jay. Good morning. Looking forward to another wonderful show here with some interesting interview.
Right on. All right, we formatted this show like a round of golf. The initial segment's called the On the Range segment. It's brought to you by Pro-Am Golf, and we've got to give you our social media outlets. Twitter is at Jay Delsing. Facebook is Golf with Jay Delsing and Jay Delsing Golf. LinkedIn is just Jay Delsing. That's a lot of Jay Delsings, and we have an Instagram tag, but we don't know what it is. And anyway, okay, so we've got an interview today on our show. We've got an interview with Scott Langley. Scott,
you chuckle when I say, kind of pause and say, interesting. This guy's got some interesting stuff in there that I didn't quite know how to qualify.
No, 100%, 100%. I didn't. I was thinking about something else. I won't tell you what that is, and I'll just keep on going. We want to thank Bob and Kathy Donahue at Donahue Painting and Refinishing for supporting the show. If you need any sort of work done on your show, on your house, on your show or your house,
or your
show house,
the show, but don't put that on them.
Right? Wow.
They don't
Please, Bob and Kathy, call me and help refinish my show. Please help refinish my show. No, they do great work. They are great friends, and I appreciate their support. We're going to give a plug again to the St. Louis Junior Invitational to be held July 30th and 31st at Norwood Hills Country Club, STLGolfJR.com. That's how you get a hold of these folks. They're looking for 72 boys and girls ages 14 to 18 to play. They have a Bob Phillips Shining Light Player Scholarship where they use GoFundMe pages and different sources of revenue to help families offset the cost of this thing. So do not let cost be the reason that you're not signing up for this event. It's a very cool event. All right, so Pearl, we have Scott Langley. A lot to talk about with Scott. We also have next week the tour starting, and we're excited as hell about that. I can't wait to get the PGA Tour back and running. So, Pearl, if you were to guess, we have been out of golf for what, over 2 months, right? So what, about 9 weeks or so? Something like that.
It seems like a couple of years, but
Doesn't
that's probably about right.
Somewhere. Well, that's close enough for our show. We get it somewhere in the vicinity.
Yep.
How much money do you think prize money was lost throughout the PGA Tour, the Champions Tour, and the Korn Ferry Tour? How much money do you think was lost as that the players did not get a chance to participate and play for?
Yikes. I don't even know where to begin on that one. A lot. Yeah,
it's a big number. It's somewhere between $100 and $130 million.
So I got one for you. How much money to charity has been lost by the tour not
and
being
I
up
think,
and running?
And you know what, John? I think that's a bigger. We talk about that,
I know.
and we talk about that almost every show in some form or another, and that is, it's just a huge deal, man. It's just a huge thing that where people are, there's so many people out of jobs, and there's just so much uncertainty, and man, it's just tough when you have these charitable organizations that really focus their entire efforts around 1 week a year.
Well, the tradition of it, people looking forward to it. We talk about this, the volunteers for these events because they're so critical to the events, but they love it. I mean, they love it. They anchor their spring around it, maybe their whole year around it, and so they didn't get to do that stuff too. And I mean, this is just golf, right? This is just the peripheral stuff. There's so much more important, heartfelt stuff out there. But yeah, it's just all these little things that are getting missed. But maybe it makes us appreciate them more. So when we get to do them next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a couple weeks back, we announced that Normandy Golf Club has been reopened. our buddies at the Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association, Kurt Roy and Tommy O'Toole Jr., along with the folks from Beyond Housing, work together to get Normandy. They call it the Rock Open. And if you'll remember on the show, the Normandy was one of the first 4 courses in the city to be part of the Missouri Golf Association in 1905. It's absolutely crazy, but I ran across a article in the St. Louis Business Journal that has the USGA-rated hardest golf courses in St. Louis, and it has them ranked. And Pearl, the number 1 course on the list will not surprise you when I tell it to you, but it will surprise a bunch of our listeners, I'm almost certain. The hardest golf course in the area is Fox Run Golf Club.
Well, that would have been my guess for sure. And I love that place, and it is hard. I mean, for those back tees, it's really hard.
Oh, we got a big grin, and Meat is shaking his head. Meat looks like a bobble doll right now over here.
So Randy and I played Fox Run maybe a month ago. It was right around all this COVID stuff when it started, and I think it was on the back 9, one of the last holes. The green, Randy was on the left front side of the green, putted around. It took an entire loop all the way around and rolled off the right side. I did the exact same thing right after it. The greens there are atrocious sometimes. They're maddening.
They've got a lot of slope out there, don't they? And what a beautiful setting that golf course is out there. Yeah.
The clubhouse is fantastic. You're talking about a great place at the end of the round to go have a beer or a glass of wine. Just wonderful. And one of my favorite times caddying for you, Jay, is when you went through U.S. Open qualifying through there and made it, and your mother walked the whole 36 holes, and I think it was 112 degrees that day.
I think she had calluses on her fingers from saying the rosary that day, didn't she, Pearl? Oh, my gosh.
Is that the thing she was dragging around?
Oh, man. My mom, so I can tell you exactly how old she was. She was about 77.
Wow.
And she plowed around there. And Pearl, how many times did she walk right down the middle of the fairway? And we were like, she couldn't hear for diddly.
She was trying to make the point that that's where you're supposed to hit it. You never did understand that.
No, I'm trying to understand, trying to tell you, I told my mom, whenever I'm up first on the tee, the safest place you can walk is down the middle of the fairway. There's a lot of places I'll hit it, probably won't be there. So that's what she was doing. A lot of great courses on here, but here's what sticks out. Belle Reve is rated number 2 hardest. Here's what sticks out in my mind that's really interesting, folks, and you got to pay attention to this. Aberdeen Golf Club, it's a public facility, is rated number 3. Aberdeen is a great place to play golf. There's some, I go up and down this list. The Country Club of St. Albans, which is really special to me, the Lewis and Clark course is tied for 3rd with Aberdeen and Meadowbrook. Lake Forest is a good course out west. Peevely Farms is in the top 10, another public, golf course. So lots of great stuff. I always struggled, John. When I'll go down the list, I'll read the top 10, but I'll make my point afterwards. Fox Run Golf Club is number 1. Belle Reve Country Club 2. Aberdeen Golf Club and Country Club of St. Albans, Lewis and Clark course are tied for 3rd. Meadowbrook Country Club is 5th. Lake Forest is 6th. Peevely Farms is tied at 7th with Winghaven. The Country Club at the Legends main course is 9, tied with Old Warson. That rounds out the top 10. We've got Boone Valley, the Country Club of the Legends, Gateway National, Norwood, all run out kind of the top 15. But I always struggled with people rating those courses, John, because I feel like they all present problems in different ways, and so much depends on where you play them from.
Oh, I think that's true, but also what type of a player you are. So that's probably where it can really kind of get under your craw. But, person that hits it far versus a person that hits it shorter, a person that hits it straight versus a little bit crooked. I think these are always fun lists to look at, but I don't know how much stock you put in them. But those are all nice golf courses. And I love when you point out how good some of the public courses are that you have. And I think most cities have that situation. There's a lot of great public courses around. because the agronomy is so much better. They can make these places so much better. Back in the day, it cost them an arm and a leg, and they couldn't get there.
Yeah, absolutely. They just around the city. When I grew up here, we had no public golf courses to play. There was Forest Park was the main public facility in St. Louis, and then we'd have the one that I grew up on was public, but they called it a country club. It was called North Shore Country Club, which was a really lousy golf course, but a pretty decent place to go sleigh riding in the winter. And then they had another course up north called Paddock, which is now called Old Florissant. But we've got some great public golf courses and facilities, and I'm in the process of doing putting a program together where I can get out there and maybe interview the pros and talk to them and boost them up a little bit. So it's really kind of cool and really kind of fun idea to do.
Well, I think I love that idea, getting out there, and you've been plugging and rightfully so, the junior event coming up July 30th, 31st. I wish you could get out there and interview some of those kids and some of their parents and guardians. I think that would be some fun, and maybe we even do some whack and chases out there.
You know, Pearl, that's a good idea. What we've got to try to figure out in this whole environment is what is deemed safe. You know, you saw about a month ago or so at the TaylorMade driving relief that, you know, Steve Sands was interviewing everybody from 6 feet away. And,
Yep.
you know, whatever is right, whatever protocol we need to put in place, we will. But it would really be fun to get a listen to some of the junior golfers and some of their perspectives about the game. I think it's just wonderful. And the next, you know, generation of people coming up and playing and supporting it.
For sure.
Yeah, so, gosh, I was thinking about our guest, Scott Langley. I was thinking about him, and what an interesting guy. The only player ever to get a PGA Tour card that came out of a first tee program. He came out of the first tee program here in St. Louis, which was always special to me, and made it out on the PGA Tour. That is pretty damn cool.
Did you know him very well, Jay, as he was coming up?
No, just age-wise, Pearl, I am almost 30 years older than he is, so I definitely knew who he was. He's a left-hander, swings the club beautifully. He went to the University of Illinois. He's a product of the Mike Small machine over there of great golfers. He went to Parkway South High School here in St. Louis, and so we're going to get to go to him. You know what? That's going to wrap up the On the Range segment. But come back, we're going to go to the Scott Langley interview, and that'll be on the front nine. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Dan McLaughlin, TV voice of the Cardinals. St. Louis is one of the best sports cities in the country. We also have a tremendous history of supporting professional golf. We're excited to bring professional golf back to St. Louis with the inaugural Ascension Charity Classic, September 28th through October 4th at beautiful Norwood Hills Country Club. Legends like Ernie Els, Fred Couples, Jim Furyk, Steve Stricker, and many more will be in St. Louis. For tickets and sponsorship information, head to AscensionCharityClassic.com. That's AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Are you tired of forking out the big money, all those dollars on golf balls? Well, we finally have an option for you. Let us introduce you to Sniper brand golf balls. This brand new product is a Surlyn-covered ball that is just great to play. It's long off the driver, it's accurate with the irons, and importantly, it's soft around the green. And you know what the best part is? It's just $23.99 for a dozen. That's right, $23.99, and a portion of every sale goes back to a military or law enforcement agency. Find Sniper Brand online at thesniperbrand.com. Plus, you can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and check out their entire line of golf products on their website, thesniperbrand.com. And don't forget to check out the Sniper Brand logo. You're going to love it.
I want to give a huge shout-out and thank you to Whitmore Country Club for sponsoring my show, Golf with Jay Delsing, again for the second year. When you join out at Whitmore, there's 90 holes of golf. You get access to the Missouri Bluffs, the Links of Dardenne, and the Golf Club of Wentzville, and the cart fees are already included in your membership. There's no food and beverage minimums. There's no assessments. They have a 24-hour fitness center, large pool complex, tennis. Man, they've just got great family-oriented stuff. And if you get over there, you got to go in the golf shop, and you have to say hello to my friend Bummer. Bummer is just a delightful guy that would love to help you and your family with your golf game. He and his staff out there run golf leagues, skins games, members tournaments, couples events are available all year long. If your family is looking for a place where you can hang out, have fun, enjoy good food, golf, sports, just a family-friendly atmosphere, you got to go to Whitmore Country Club. You can reach them at 636-926-9622.
We're all experiencing very trying times right now, but hopefully we can reflect a little bit on the things that matter the most to us, like family and community. At St. Louis Bank, we want to wish you and your family safety and good health. We're a part of this community, and we are all in this together. In such uncertain financial times, you've probably never needed your bank to step up and support you more. We know, we hear you, and we are here for you. Our banking experts are doing everything they can to help. We're offering a skip-a-payment to all consumer accounts. For mortgage loans and home equity line of credits, we're offering payment modifications with up to a 6-month deferral. Our commercial and SBA loans will be handled on a case-by-case basis to provide the best relief for each unique situation. We understand that communication and speed are essential during this critical time. Get in touch with your commercial banking officer to take advantage of this program. If you'd like to speak with us, you can call 314-851-6200. We are going to move through this hardship, and we're going to do it together. St. Louis Bank, here for you when you need us today and in brighter days ahead.
Grab your clubs. We're headed to the front nine on Golf with Jay Delsing.
The Front Nine is brought to you by the Ascension Charity Golf Classic.
Welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I am your host, Jay. I got Pearlie with me. We got Brad Barnes taking care of us with the buttons and the knobs over here. And we got to give a shout out to Whitmore Country Club for supporting the show again, our second year. These guys are terrific. Man, the fact that you have 36 holes, the fact that you can go there, and you've been over me a couple of times in the last
I haven't been.
Can you turn Pearlie's mic off for just a second? Anyway,
Did you not text Pearlie last weekend when you and I went?
I said to be quiet about that. I said to be quiet about that. And all those beers we had, we were talking about them. It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, the multiple cases of golf balls you gave me too before we
yeah.
played.
And
I
once
said to
again,
get Pearlie a
at my
sleeve.
expense, not a surprise. Once again, at my expense.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Yep, not a problem. Where were we? Oh, yeah, meat. How you doing?
I'm great.
All right, cool. We got Whitmore. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. The fact that you have 36 holes, here's why I was going. It's almost impossible to not find a place to jump in and play. Let's say you show up at 5:30, grab a beer, and there's, you go at the back nine of the north, you go the front nine of the south. Bummers, what they do so well is they're like, yeah, just going out over there. Play 9 holes, have a blast, don't worry about it.
And I feel like it's every couple holes, it's almost like you're on a completely new course. You'll be playing through some houses, then you're on top of some water, then you're going uphill. It's just a gorgeous course with so many things to offer.
Yeah. There's no food and beverage minimums over there, no assessments, a 24-hour fitness center. Pearlie, this place is great, man.
Yeah,
next time meet and I go over there, we'll take some pics. We should have sent some pictures inside.
We should have.
Oh,
man.
my gosh.
Maybe next time we will.
I even got a delicious cheeseburger halfway through that round the last time.
You wouldn't have liked it, though, Pearlie.
Yeah, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to team up with Bummer, and then you can bring meat, and then we'll see how that goes.
You got the wrong end of that one.
Me turn his mic off. Anyway, there's a large pool complex, tennis courts. Anyway, we just talked about Bummer. Guys, Whitmore Country Club is a great place to join. They offer everything for your family. It's family-centric. There's nothing that if you have someone interested in tennis or golf, clearly, but there's the pool, fitness. It's a great place to join. Call them at 636-926-9622. All right, so we've got an interview with Scott Langley. St. Louisan, Parkway South High School graduate, went to the University of Illinois. Mike Small will be on the show. He is one of the top golf coaches in the country, without a doubt. And they have put together a world-class golf program at the University of Illinois. And a couple of distinctions. So let's go right into this interview with Scott Langley. We're kind of in this holding pattern where we're, social distancing and we're isolating, and it's a strange world right now. How are you and Christy and Kennedy? I know you guys live in Arizona.
Yeah, thanks. We're doing fine. It's definitely a big adjustment for us, as I'm sure for pretty much everyone out there, getting used to this new normal for the time being. Our daughter's in virtual school, and so she basically FaceTimes in with her teachers every day and does her best to continue learning and doing school stuff. And my golf, as many of you probably know, is on hold, along with all the other major sports for the foreseeable future. It's a really weird time. It's hard to really look at any thing that's happened in certainly my lifetime, that you could look at as a roadmap for how to deal with something like this, how to make sure everyone's safe and stop the spread, and also think about, how do we get back to some sense of normal life. It's really kind of uncharted territory for all of us. And, you're definitely seeing that with the sports world.
Scott, are you able to get out and play and practice at all right now?
So the golf courses are open in Arizona, but I haven't been going. I've been really weighing just, what's the right thing to do. And, the thing about golf, I still have a lot of time before our next tournament. They've come out, to this point and said, basically like towards the end of May is when we're going to start playing again. So I kind of weigh these two situations when I think about going out to practice. Number one, the more important thing is, I think, practicing responsible behavior. And like many people my age, there certainly have been exceptions. There have been people my age who have gotten really sick from this, but statistically speaking, people my age aren't super worried about acquiring this virus. But it's about the older people in your life. And, we, without, getting too deep into the weeds, we live in a condo building with many older residents. And even with practicing good social distancing, if I were to go to the golf course and practice and somehow come in contact with someone who had it and then come home and, I'm in the elevator, I'm inevitably going down to the mail room. There are still some things I have to do. I certainly would not want to give it to somebody in my building, someone that is, an older person that could be a lot more at risk for developing some bad things from this. So I've really been just trying to weigh, doing the right thing. And also like keeping in mind that, I do still have time to prepare for whenever my next tournament will be. So I haven't been rushing back. I've been really trying to be smart and, like I said, kind of do my part.
Yeah, and that's, there's, as golfers, we're kind of on islands, so to speak, where we're kind of out there by ourselves. But with what's going on in our country, it's hard not to see us kind of try to be a united front on this thing.
Yeah, totally. And people look to athletes, not necessarily myself, but athletes with more of a following as, for better or worse, examples of what to do. And I think you've definitely seen, a lot of guys across all sports kind of step up and creatively show the ways that they're trying to stay in shape and, spend their time at home rather than going out and practicing whatever it is that they do normally. So hopefully that's helped to encourage people who don't necessarily play sports to still acknowledge like, hey, this is a really big deal. And, even if people's first priority isn't others, it's still, I think, out of self-interest, I think it's still important to stay home, because that's the only way life is going to get back to normal somewhat quickly, is if this thing really calms down and we allow our testing abilities and medical response to be able to kind of catch up to everything that's already happened.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Scott, has the tour said anything to you guys on the Corn Ferry Tour about how this year is going to shape up with so many events that have already been lost?
There have been some private conversations. So I serve on the PAC of the Corn Ferry Tour. The PAC stands for Player Advisory Council, and a lot of that is confidential stuff that they ask us to keep a pretty tight lid on it. But all I'll say is that the tour is run by some really bright and caring people and good people. And they want to do the right thing. They want to do whatever they can to protect their players and their employees and the people that come to golf tournaments. So, they're being really smart about it. I think, there's a good chance they've never worked harder on, exploring all the many different ways they could, deliver golf as soon as possible. And the trickiest part is that the information with this virus seems to change every day. Some new little nugget will come out, or some new CDC guidance will come out. So I really sympathize with the leaders of sports, because that behind the scenes they're working tirelessly to try and formulate a new plan, and then the CDC can say one thing and then it kind of torpedoes the plan they had worked on for the whole 2 weeks, and then they got to start over. So it's a crazy time, but I can definitely say our leadership really cares, and they're good people, and they're certainly going to do the right thing for all our stakeholders.
Okay, that's going to wrap up the front nine. So come back. We'll wrap up the interview with Scott Langley. On the back nine, John and Jay are here, and it's Golf with Jay Delsing.
The 100,000-mile blowtorch for St. Louis sports, driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the 30-day return. WXOX and WXOX HD1 in St. Louis. 101 ESPN.
Are you in the market for some new clubs? Maybe a bag and the latest style of sweet new shoes. Is this the year you decide to stop listening to your buddy's advice and get some real golf instruction? If any of these appeal to you, then go to Pro-Am Golf today. Pro-Am Golf has all the latest gear from all the major manufacturers. Call Steve today at 314-781-7775 and schedule a lesson with Tom DeGrand. Tom is the best. He's been in the game for over 50 years, so you take that knowledge along with their state-of-the-art equipment, and boom, your game will get a whole lot better. Visit them at ProAmGolfUSA.com.
USA Mortgage is doing it again. Joe Sheezer and his staff have lowered rates again this month, and they will waive closing costs if you want to refinance to get cash out, lower your rate, shorten your term, or eliminate that costly, unnecessary mortgage insurance. If you are purchasing a property, they can issue a pre-approval letter within minutes. They are the largest mortgage company in the state of Missouri, and their volume allows them to quote the lowest rates. Don't waste your time with the national online brokers. USA Mortgage is employee-owned and operated right here in St. Louis. Joe Sheezer has closed over $500 million in loans in nearly 30 years in the business, and over $2 million alone to Delsing's.
We're halfway there. It's time for the Back Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing. The Back Nine is brought to you by St. Louis Bank.
Welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. I got John Perlis with me. And welcome to the Back Nine, sponsored by St. Louis Bank. Man, I forgot to mention the Ascension Charity Classic, which sponsored the front nine, and they're People are probably sick of hearing it, but we can't wait. Pearlie, you're going to caddy for me. That event's going to be terrific. Let's go to the second half of the Scott Langley interview. Typically, Scott, this time of year is my all-time favorite time because the Masters, this is Masters week that we're doing this, we're taping this interview, and, the start of Major League Baseball has just begun, and we've got the NHL playoffs, and there's just, great sport drama and theater on TV. And so now it kind of throws you back into, at least me, you go back and think of some of the past things that you've witnessed and experienced just to try to get some sort of fix on the sports that we're missing out.
Yeah, myself include me too with that sentiment. Matter of fact, I was just texting one of my good friends about the rewind of the Masters that's going on today. The 2005 Masters where Tiger had the chip in. I had actually never seen that live. I was playing golf at Peasley Farms when it happened, and my good friend who I was texting was working in the shop at the time, and he was sending out messages over the golf course GPS system, updating all the players on the golf course as to what was happening. And I remember he sent out a message in all caps that Tiger had chipped in. I think it was maybe to take the lead or to tie for the lead at the time with, I think it was Chris DeMarco. And I was telling him how excited I was to watch it today because I never got to see it live. It'll be the first time I've gotten to see it kind of with all the lead up and all the, events that transpired before the chip in. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch that. It's nice that they got together and were able to put together some Masters for us to watch from years past this week.
Hey, Scott, tell us about your music background. I know that you love music and that you play the violin. That is, I don't think I've ever, I'm not sure I've ever met anyone that played the violin. I have a lot of friends that would like to, but one that comes to mind in particular, but she does not play it. It's one of her favorite instruments. But how did that all come about?
Yeah, well, I think it's more accurate to say I played, past tense, the violin rather than I play currently. But yeah, I got started in it third grade at Oak Brook Elementary, where I went to elementary school, and in the Suzuki program, started learning violin and just really liked it. A lot of my friends were in the class. My parents encouraged me to continue with it, so I continued playing all through middle school and high school at Parkway South. Played in the orchestra, and some of my best high school friends were in the orchestra, so it was really fun. And we got to play some really fun stuff, some pop culture stuff. I remember playing the Pirates of the Caribbean score one year for a concert, and some stuff from movies that were really popular at the time. And it was just cool. It was really challenging. The violin, you have to be so precise. It actually kind of mirrors the golf swing a little bit because there are quite a few variables with playing the violin. The posture in which you hold it, the angle at which you apply pressure with your fingers to produce notes, the tension that you put on the bow, and the angle at which you apply the bow to the strings. It's really, really precise, and it's a really demanding instrument to play. But yeah, it was definitely something I really enjoyed, and yeah, it's a challenging instrument. If I were to try and play right now, it would be.
That's what I wanted to ask you about.
Not so great.
We'll give you a beer, and we'll give you a little something. What could you make that thing sound like?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Nothing that you would probably want to hear over a beer. Maybe something that you would want to hear over like a really fancy glass of champagne or something.
Yeah, perfect.
I never really got into the Devil Went Down to Georgia kind of stuff. Just really because that stuff's really hard.
Oh, I bet it is. I just wanted to touch on one other thing. You are a product of the University of Illinois and the phenomenal program put together by our good friend, Coach Mike Small. Talk to us a little bit about that program and some of the great players like yourself that have come out of there. I mean, you won the NCAA championship, I think, your last year in 2010. Was that your senior year, I think, wasn't it?
That was my junior year.
Your junior year, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Small is just, in my opinion, the best college coach in golf. And obviously I'm biased because I learned from him, and he coached me, and I didn't play for any other coach. But just I can't imagine anyone being better. He really cares about his players. And he always had this ability to really get us ready for the big events. It always seemed like our team really peaked when the chips are on the table. Big Ten championships, NCAA regionals. Unfortunately, as a team, we underachieved a little bit, I think, at nationals. I think that our best finish was we made it to the Elite Eight in match play one year. I always felt like we could have done better as a team at nationals, but in terms of the big tournaments in our conference and our Big Ten record, it was certainly really strong. But Coach's experience as a player, his knowledge of technique and coaching, like physically the golf swing, combined with this really just blue collar mentality. He really instilled in all of us. And, we always would play with a really kind of a healthy chip on our shoulder. Being a Northern school, we really felt like we had something to prove every time we teed it up. And I think it was a product of the hunger that Coach put in us to really go out and try and achieve something special and show that a Northern school could compete with anybody, even though we couldn't play on the golf course all year round.
Yeah, it's just really great stuff. I'm not sure the folks around the Midwest can appreciate what a great program they have there. Well, Scott, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show with me. One of the things that's always stuck out of my mind is your association with the First Tee. You're the only player thus far to go through a First Tee program and make it onto the PGA Tour. We just wish you all the best of luck, man. We can't wait for you to get playing soon and come back by St. Louis and hang out.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the support I always get from all my friends in St. Louis, and I look forward to coming back soon and hopefully playing some golf in St. Louis next time I'm in town.
Okay, John. So here's a guy. Tell me that disposition and that personality isn't like ideal for playing great golf. I mean,
that's all I was thinking about listening to the interview. That's all I was thinking about is, and it's so not like me. And I'm thinking, that he's just calm. It's just smooth. It's just low key. Yeah. That's exactly the way I was looking at it, Jay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What about when he dropped the violin on you? I mean, I
thought to myself, now I know where our problem was, because it has anything to do with the violin, and then he gets into more the techniques and the details, because I know nothing about a violin, and all the moving parts and all the things and the different angles. I'm thinking, that's why this never worked out.
I was listening to AC/DC, and we were listening to Led Zeppelin, and he's no wonder my tempo gets a little wacky.
When he talked about Devil Go Down to Georgia, now I could relate a little bit to that, but he said that's not what he does. I'm thinking, well, then I can't relate to that.
No, that's right. You could relate for 1 minute, but what I want to talk a little bit about, John, is the fact that Mike Small, Coach Small, and the University of Illinois, they built a powerhouse program with developing an incredible nationwide reputation, even worldwide reputation now, as a great program. Champaign, Illinois.
Yeah, not a mecca for golf by any stretch, but make sure when we're talking about this a little bit, what a great player Mike is. I got to play with him one time, and I knew he was good. He's won the Club Pro Series, whatever those different things are. He's played on tour. This guy's world-class player. I guess that's not the lifestyle he wanted.
No, he's really, really good. He's played some on the Champions Tour, had a little bit of success, kind of got screwed a little bit because of the numbers and the way that the Champions Tour is closed up. But, what they're doing over there, Justin Barget is a former Missouri State Amateur champion and is now working as one of their head recruiters for Mike Small. Yeah, I'm going to have Justin on the show. I got to tell you another thing that Scott Langley reminded me of. Chris Nagel. I played golf with Chris Nagel about a week ago from the back tees at Norwood on a cool, blustery day. He fired a little 65. No bogey-free 65, and I went, I'm not even familiar with that game anymore. It was just spectacular to watch, and unfortunately, I had to dig in my pocket a little bit, and I did not like that, John.
So now, how does that guy not make it?
Well, it's hard to. That's a head scratcher. I am a gigantic Chris Nagel fan, and he's going to be on the show also. I don't know. He struggled for years and years with his putting, and we actually worked a little bit together with his putting, and now he is. And I'm not taking any credit for that, but we have talked about putting, and we have spent some time on the putting green, and he is just playing great. He finished 100. He finished 90th in money last year. The top 100 are exempt, but they do this. They have a point system now in the Corn Ferry, and he wound up finishing like 103. And so he wound up kind of getting shuffled out of there because of the points and not the money. So, yeah, but really good player.
Maybe he needs a caddy to get him around the course a little bit better or something. If he could hit it that good and putt that good, something just one little spark left to get him rolling.
Yeah, he hits it long. Oh my gosh, he hit one drive I hit pretty good, and he hit one. I go, did you hit that any good? He goes, yeah, I hit it real good. About 55 yards in front of me, Pearl.
Yeah, I'm glad you know how it feels. So there you go.
Yeah, I didn't like it much. How's it feel to you when I do that to you?
Not that good. Ever.
No.
Not ever.
No.
It's appropriate that it happens, but it never feels right.
It never does. Nope. I started looking at my ball. I'm like, there's something wrong with this ball.
Well, no, not that ball.
Yeah.
Not the sniper.
No, there's nothing wrong with the sniper ball.
I wouldn't know.
Mead likes his. I snuck a few over to Mead a couple weeks ago.
Best ball I've ever hit.
Yeah, that's good, Mead. He probably enjoyed it in Whitmore too. So
that's all. Well, that was in between lunch and dinner. Oh my gosh! Well, that's gonna do it for the back nine. Stay with us. We got Doc on Whack and Chase on the 19th hole. We'll be back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Dan McLaughlin, TV voice of the Cardinals. St. Louis is one of the best sports cities in the country. We also have a tremendous history of supporting professional golf. We're excited to bring golf back to St. Louis with the inaugural Ascension Charity Classic, September 28th through October 4th at Norwood Hills Country Club. Don't miss your chance to see PGA Tour champion legends. Proceeds will benefit St. Louis area youth, including the Urban League, Marygrove, the Boys and Girls Club, and more. For tickets and sponsorship information, head to AscensionCharityClassic.com.
For the last 48 years, Pro-Am Golf has been providing outstanding customer service to the greater St. Louis area for all of our golf needs. From top-of-the-line equipment to full-service club repair lessons and instructions. They now have their own retail outlet as well as state-of-the-art computers, cameras, and things to customize all of your personal club fitting needs. Pro-Am Golf carries all the major brands. They also have the latest fashion trends from Puma Golf. Whatever your needs, Pro-Am Golf will meet them and have the best customer service in the industry. Call us at 314-781-7775 or find us at ProAmGolfUSA.com.
USA Mortgage is doing it again. Joe Sheezer and his staff have lowered rates again this month, and they will waive closing costs if you want to refinance to get cash out, lower your rate, shorten your term, or eliminate that costly, unnecessary mortgage insurance. If you are purchasing a property, they can issue a pre-approval letter within minutes. They are the largest mortgage company in the state of Missouri, and their volume allows them to quote the lowest rates. Don't waste your time with the national online brokers. USA Mortgage is employee-owned and operated right here in St. Louis. Joe Sheezer has closed over $500 million in loans in nearly 30 years in the business and over $2 million alone to Delsing's.
I want to thank Donahue Painting and Refinishing for supporting the show. When I was out playing golf, in my mind, I would see a picture that I wanted, and I'd try to hit the shot the way it was painted in my mind. The way you see your home is what Donahue Painting and Refinishing can make your home look like.
Grab your friends, a cold one, and pull up a chair. We're on to the 19th hole on golf with Jay Delsing.
The 19th hole is brought to you by Sniper Brand Golf.
Welcome back. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. I got Pearlie with me, and we are headed to the 19th hole that's brought to you by Sniper Golf. You got to get out and try the F20DR golf ball. It is fantastic. And, Mead, how do you like that logo?
Oh, it's freaking phenomenal.
It is a cool logo for golf. It's
yeah.
little sniper crosshairs. You guys, you got to try it.
And
it's
nobody
really
else
cool.
on the course has it.
Nope. It's really cool. So, what do we got?
Nobody else on this show has it.
Mead, what do we? Gosh, I thought Pearlie's mic was off. What do we got? Who we got on Whack and Chase today?
Jay John Whack and Chase is back yet again. Doc is on the line with us.
Hey,
Hi,
Doc.
guys.
Hey, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I wish my golf game was better.
Well,
That's why you're calling. You got the right spot.
I hope so.
So, Doc, well, first of all, thanks again for calling and thanks for listening to the show. So what we do on Whack and Chase is people call in and tell us, some of the biggest struggles that they're having, and then John will ask some really important, pointed questions.
Thank you.
And you can decide on whether they're important or pointed when you're finished, and then we'll go to a solve.
That sounds great.
Okay.
So, Doc, what do you want to ask Jay? What's the big dilemma you've got going? And let's let him have some time to stew on it and chew on it a little bit.
Well, the biggest problem I seem to have is off the tee, and I don't know if it's because I got a longer club and I want to hit it farther, but it seems or feels like I'm coming over the top, and I'm coming over the top so badly that I've hit some balls so far left that the guys I'm playing with go, if you want to go look for it, you can, but we're not coming.
Nice guys in that group. You guys know each other for a while, I bet.
You know what's interesting about that, Doc and John? If you're playing with a bunch of strangers, guys you just got paired up with on the first tee, they're going to go over there and help you.
Yeah.
But you're paired with friends and they've known you well enough, Doc, and they're going to go, nope, you're on your own over there.
I hit them so far left sometimes I don't want to go look.
I've been there with you, unfortunately.
Well, Doc, let me get a couple of questions out to you. First, tell us a little bit about your background relative to golf. When did you start playing? How long have you been playing? And what do you shoot now?
Well, unfortunately, when I was in high school, I was one of the better junior golfers in St. Louis, and I actually played at state. And because I was one of the top qualifiers in St. Louis, I played my sophomore and junior year with Tom Watson in the first group. He was better than I was. I didn't realize how much better. Then I went to the University of Texas, and I found out that Tom Kite and some of those other guys were also better than I was. And I decided I better get an education.
Doc,
So
were you down at UT with Kite and Crenshaw?
Well, Ben is 2 years younger, so Tom and I are the same age, which if people know how old he is, then unfortunately they know how old I am. And so I went to medical school, and I didn't play for about 18 years. And when I started playing again, like any athlete, I thought, well, this will be a no-brainer. And the ball was going in many different directions. And, I probably got down to about a 9 handicap in my, late 30s. And then I would tell you, after that, it just seems like every year it kind of crept up. And, I don't know whether it's, as you get older, it seems like your brain starts to get in the way. And again, you think too much about what you're doing wrong. And I think early on, one of the bad things I did is I tried to correct it myself with what I thought was wrong, but not really knowing what was wrong, other than the feeling I got that I was, kind of coming over the top of the ball. Sometimes I would feel like, well, I'm swinging too fast. I'm not staying behind the ball. I'm getting too wristy. And so, I've done everything from gone to bigger grips to smaller grips to wearing a golf glove on both hands. It kind of reminds me of Tin Cup. I feel like maybe I should tie my shoelaces together. But I will tell you, the problem continues to exist. and seems to be worse when you're playing a game with your friends and that dollar. It's amazing how much that dollar will make you seem to grip the club tighter and swing faster and think more. And like I said, it just has been a real problem over the last many years.
Have you taken any lessons, Doc?
I have, and they have really helped. Part of it was
what did they help?
Well, one of the problems that our pro Daryl Hardig had kind of shown me at Westwood was that I was getting the club too inside, taking it back, and so in order to try to catch up, that was causing the problem some, and so that. I don't come over the top as much anymore, and that's what's frustrating because the good drives are terrific, and the bad drives are still horrible.
That's tough. That's tough. So they gave you some, after you got the lessons, did it help for a little bit and then kind of go back, or did it just help in general and you improved a bit?
I would tell you in general it helped, and I improved. And, it's that thing, and I hate to admit it, but, it got down to the point where I would tell you, 80% of my drives seem to be over the top. And at that point, rather than doing it when a third of them are, to go get that professional help. And, so it seemed rather dramatic initially. And, again, you play and you feel like, well, maybe when I get tired, I'm doing it. And, if I had anything I would suggest to people, the more lessons you take and the sooner you try to get things fixed, the better. I back when I was a teenager, most guys didn't have golf teachers or instructors. I mean, not like Tom Watson or Tom Kite, and so consequently you tried to fix things yourself. And pros take lessons; they have coaches. It must be a good idea.
Doc, it sounds like, man, you've got a lot running through that brain of yours. It's probably, Pearlie, what do you think, 75 to 90% smarter than most golfers because he's a doctor and has bigger capacity than the rest of us.
That's part of the challenge is what I'm hearing here. And I wrote down right at the top here when I started taking my notes from Doc, no thinking aloud.
Right.
Well, no, and Jay once mentioned to me about Bob Rotella's books. And I will tell you that clearly with my putting helped tremendously. And there's no doubt in my mind. So if you guys have a way of trying to explain to me how you can take your brain out of it, being a doctor, I keep thinking pills will do it. I just don't know which pills to take.
Doc, you got to write yourself a prescription. That's all that takes care of everything. No, I think what we're talking about here is there's a thing on the tour we used to call paralysis through analysis, and you get to going through parts of this. John, you have been on the bag with me before where, I will say something to you and we'll have this conversation, and then the next thing we know, we both look at each other like this is the wrong area we need to be diving into. Because it goes back to the sport aspect of it, Doc. What reminds me of the best thing that you said when you were in high school and you knew less about the golf swing, obviously your body was a little younger, you played, you were a little more supple, maybe a little more powerful, whatever, but there wasn't, though, you weren't encumbered by all of these thoughts and all of these. Sometimes taking lessons is really good unless you try to, you try to work on something and blend it into what you have, or you make that lesson bigger than everything else. And we've seen this time and time and time again. The object of this game is to take this ball from the first tee and put it in the hole in as few strokes as possible, period.
Well, it wasn't a perfect day in St. Louis today, but it was good enough to play golf. And because it was a little colder and I couldn't think so much, I actually hit the ball pretty good. And I really believe that you probably hit the nail on the head. I honestly think that, and everybody has those holes if they play the same course a lot, where you get up there and if you don't like that hole, so you start to think a little bit too much. And I really believe you hit the nail on the head. I think sometimes I get paralyzed over the ball thinking of what I've done in the past and what I need to do to hopefully not do that again.
Well, Doc, sometimes the task, because our brain gets so engaged, is it makes the task seem monumental. And instead you're like, wait a second. When I was a kid, all I did was look down at this ball and try to hit it as hard as I can. And so the one thing that I will say for you, for people that come over the top, so the game, and this is a lesson that I think you'll like because it's only you can only judge it by the feel. You've got to initiate your downswing with your legs, your lower body. So many times when I see amateurs swinging and come and literally do come over the top and the ball does start left like yours does, it's because their lower body is almost dead. And if you think of a baseball player swinging a bat, or you think of a hockey player shooting a slap shot, or you think of a tennis player hitting a ground stroke, and you think of a golfer starting their swing, the lower body is so similar, except in golf, we don't move the feet. We don't step into the shot like the other sports do. But the hips need to start, Doc, and they need to clear, and that will definitely get your ball started right of your target and coming back with that little draw that you're looking for.
Realizing that I'm smarter now, is there any kind of key that I can think about to start those hips? I mean, do you think about moving the left hip, or do you think about the right hip aiming at the ball?
So Doc, there's that little step drill that I like to tell people. But if you watch the players on the PGA Tour, Doc, they have a little tilt in their setup. So their head and their the buttons on their golf shirt tilt ever so slightly to the right for right-handed golfers. Okay. So what that is, Doc, is that sets you naturally slightly behind the ball at address. And if you're coming over the top of it, you said this yourself, you feel like your right shoulder is fast, it's too far out in front, and you don't have anything behind the ball. That little tilt will help tremendously. But there's a step drill that we can talk about. Pearl, you worked on the step drill.
Yeah, I love the step drill. Absolutely. Yeah, get your feet together and take that step, leave the club back there, and you're going to feel much more like a baseball player, but then you're going to feel that lag between the lower body and the upper body, and you'll start bombing a few. Yeah,
Doc, it goes like this. You put your feet about a foot distance apart, okay? And as you start to take the club back, when the club gets to about waist high, you take your right-handed golfer, you take your left foot and step about a foot forward or to your left down your line while your club is still going back, Doc. This reminds me, Pearl, every single time I think of this, I think of Sam Snead. Doc, Sam Snead, in one of the first golf videos I ever watched, we were talking about how much he used his legs. And when his backswing was going to the top, Doc, when he started his legs going to the left and starting his hip drive, the club ticked 7 more frames to the top of his swing. So what that is, and John and I, we've talked about this 100 times, that's the dynamic that we're looking for in our swing. That's our body moving 2 ways at the same time, and that creates so much power.
Well, it's going to be cold this weekend, but I guarantee you I'm going to be out on that tee to at least hit a few with that step drill.
Well, you got to call me and let me know how that goes.
I'll do that.
Hey, Doc, now this is how we sign off on Whack and Chase. If John and I have helped you, we want you to tell everybody, all of your friends at Westwood, tell your wife, tell everybody that knows anything about us, tell the newspaper. But if you keep hitting that lousy drive to the left, you got to tell them we never met.
Well, no, I'm gonna see if I can get it in our newsletter. Let them know it fixed me. They get lots of calls.
Fantastic, Doc. Thanks so much.
Doc.
Thanks for playing with us.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Guys, another Whack and Chase in the books and another show in the books. Pearly, keep looking in the mail for those sniper golf balls.
Yeah, well, next time we call, see if I answer. Let's just do it that way.
All right, cool. Meet, thanks so much for keeping us together and keeping us on time here. And, folks, thanks so much for listening. We will be back next week. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Hit 'em straight, St. Louis.
That was Golf with Jay Delsing, brought to you by Whitmore Country Club. Tune in next Sunday for more from Jay, John, and the other pros and experts from the golf world. In the meantime, you can find all of Jay's shows at 101ESPN.com as well as at jdelsinggolf.com.